I'm Lauren Smith, Loren Smith. My mother's Phyllis Payne. She's right here. She was the second known victim, and she was at Edgemere.
And I'm Dan Probst, Probst. My aunt was Dr. Catherine Sinclair. As far as we know, victim number 1 at Edgemere.
So again, thank you all for being here today. This was not at all on any of our calendars or our radar. For me personally, this morning, my phone rang at 8:30. I wasn't up. When I looked and checked, I had a message from TDCJ, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that I needed to call them, that there was news about an offender. It wasn't an emergency, but they needed to talk to me as soon as possible. Before I reached them, District Attorney Judge Crusoe called me to tell me the news. And it was, I'm still processing. It's shocking, but there is a relief that this part of my nightmare, our nightmare, is over.
I also got a phone call this morning about 8:30, and my first response was shock and chills just running all over my body. I couldn't believe it. And then the next thought that I had was, it's unbelievable, but it is believable, because everybody has a mom, a grandmom, and also a dad, granddad. And so while it still is just a horrific event that happened with all of our parents, we do have some feeling of justice.
And I was on the 4th hole this morning when my phone started blowing up. And like you said, I'm still processing it. This was a huge surprise to all of us. I don't know if I'm happy or sad, because there is still so much that our families have been through that it'll take us all a while to process.
Well, I guess I heard one of y'all called me, and my phone's been blown up too. Everybody's saying, I'm surprised it took so long. So, God's out of it now.
I think that we all feel, in some ways, it wasn't the justice that we know about through the judicial system, but perhaps in the realm of life in the world, this is a form of justice. My mother died in fear. This man did not have a peaceful passing. There is some relief in feeling that he didn't get off easily.
We certainly don't condone murder, but we do have a feeling of, one of the things that we said was, it's over.
Exactly. Many of us have been dealing with this story for 5 to 7 years. And it's just, that's what I think has helped hard for us to process, is that this chapter of it is over. We are grateful to the Harris and Brooks families for standing and going through the trial process that got the 2 convictions that caused him to be incarcerated with life without parole. We knew he wasn't ever going to walk free again. But our moms' names were said in indictments before a grand jury. They were never, ever said in a courtroom as being victims of this. And that is what we're, I believe, working through as part of the process today.
This was jailhouse justice. This was not an action of our justice system, which we have had some problems with in both Dallas, and we haven't agreed with in both Dallas and Collin counties for going on many, many years. But at least as far as Chemirmir is concerned, he is over and done with. And that is something I'm sure we all are much relieved.
Yep.
Yeah. On another note, though, our work isn't finished. In going around and giving presentations and talking about this story, we are constantly flooded with more stories, horrors in senior living establishments, anywhere from independent to assisted living to nursing care. And that is how we all came together out of this tragedy, was that we don't want anyone else's family to ever be harmed, their loved ones harmed, the way that we have. So we will continue our work for Secure Our Seniors Safety, our nonprofit, bringing about awareness and holding the senior living industry responsible and trying to make them aware that things aren't as perfect in their industry as they like to lead people to believe.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The biggest thing that I've learned in this whole journey is that we treat our seniors worse than any other class of citizen in this country. It is horrible. From petty theft to murder. And y'all are going to be there someday. So you better start thinking about helping us out. It's very important to our entire society. You were going to say?
Yeah, well, you've just said it. We need to take care of
Those who took care of us.
future generation. They took care of us. We owe it to our seniors to take care of them. It's horrible, the things that happen to them, and it's dismissed because of their age. And so we cannot stand the thought of this happening to anybody else in the future. And so that's why we work towards education and awareness to try to make a difference. There's been a whole series of emotions today, I think, from cheering to crying to is this good, is this bad, is it, there's just been a huge realm of emotions today.
And shock.
And shock.
Shock. A jam-packed 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the relief in a way, and jailhouse justice, however you want to say it. But you talk about that range of emotions. Is there also the problem of the fact that he never gets to answer specifically for the crime of your loved one's deaths?
I think
the two he was convicted of.
Oh, I don't think he would have anyway, because he always said he's innocent. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference.
Someone
He's done.
texted me today and said anyone that was hoping that they would get answers to questions should accept that they
No.
wouldn't. He was maintaining his innocence.
In,
You never expected answers anyway.
No.
No.
in Dallas County, he was convicted of 2 murders and almost essentially exonerated in the other 11. They dismissed the cases as if they never existed. And that part of the pain is still there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel knowing that? I mean, with the appeals process, that's over with.
Yeah, that's a relief. That's
Well-
part of the relief.
Strangely enough, by my strange thinking, if Chemirmir were convicted of murder in the first degree and a death penalty sentence, he would have had his own cell.
Right.
This would not have happened.
He would have been isolated.
Very ironic.
On that, so I know that some of you had issue with not just the Dallas County, Collin County DA choosing not to seek the death penalty. The fact that he wasn't executed, how does that weigh into what you guys are doing?
He got his justice at the end,
Yeah.
so
It was.
it all worked out.
We've had all kind of comments from people all day, just flooded. All of us have been flooded with texts and phone calls, and we've heard everything from karma to vengeance is the Lord's to I'm sorry, how are you? You know, so there's just such a wide, I mentioned such a wide range of emotions about it.
And what about among you guys? And I understand that you were on the phone with each other earlier today or on Zoom or whatnot. Is there a wide range of reactions and emotions in the group?
Thank heavens for each other. Thank
Yes.
heavens for each other, absolutely.
You know, we are honestly a big family. So if you took a family with 10 to 12 siblings, that's how we are. And we all love and support each other, but we also have very different personalities that result in different feelings, but we all understand and respect each other.
Do you still regret that you didn't get the death penalty?
If this
No.
had not happened, you know, if he was still alive today, yes, I would. But knowing how the death penalty plays out and the number of appeals that we would have been notified about, the length of it all, for me personally, that was where he ended up I was fine with it because he was off my radar. He was never going to walk again.
I was just happy just to let him rot,
Right. But
and he got what he got.
But the fact that this did occur, I'm very much at peace with that.
I think for the Collin County families, they really wanted to have their loved one have a day in court. And so for that, we wished that Collin County had come forward and had a trial. But yes, what they said, I agree.
You'll have to understand that going all the way back to March of
2016.
2016,
2018.
well,
Well, when we found out. I'm sorry.
2018.
Sorry.
We have worked with district attorneys, medical examiners,
Police.
the entire circle of people who are involved in justice. And their stories have moved around a little bit. Sometimes they moved around quite a bit, and that's been very frustrating to us. We now know where we stand. They're not going to do anything else. They can't. He's dead. And that is probably one piece of relief that I have. But we're still processing. And it'll take us, I hadn't been home yet. It'll take us a while to figure this out.
You know, we will never have relief from knowing that our parent, aunt, was murdered. But we do have a sense that this chapter is done, and now let's concentrate on doing something to keep this from ever happening again. So there is that type of relief.